Guys, you will not believe what happened to Adanna. It's actually been 1 week since Adanna's pubic hair was shaved in the market square, and Adanna would remember this for the rest of her life. How the sky had no mercy. How it lit up everything she wanted hidden. That very day, the market was packed. 200 people, maybe more. They came early. They brought their children. Some brought their phones. Adanna stood on a wooden bathtub in the center of the market. Tradition, they call it. Her wrapper had been torn away. Her hands shook so badly she had to grip her own wrists to make them stop. Mama Ngozi circled her like a vulture. Her eyes were cold. In her hand, she held a rusty blade.
The curse must be removed,
Mama Ngozi said.
The gods have spoken.
Adanna's lips moved, but no sound came out. She simply said,
They said I killed my husband, so they shaved me where everyone could see.
And she really wanted to say,
I didn't kill him. I loved him. Please don't do this.
But the words stayed trapped in her throat. Mama Ngozi's hand moved with practice efficiency. This was not her first time. Adanna wondered how many women had stood in this same stool, how many had bled here, and how many had been too afraid to fight back. Sit tight. Let me carry you back to when the world still made sense to Adanna. 3 years earlier, Adanna had been the happiest bride in Umuora Village. Chike had courted her for 2 years. He brought her mangoes from his mother's tree. He wrote her letters on papers torn from school notebook. He made her laugh until her stomach hurt. On their wedding day, he whispered in his ear,
I will love you until the palm trees stop growing.
She believed him. Their house was small but clean. Red mud walls, a thin roof that sang when it rained. Adanna kept a garden out front. Tomatoes, pepper, okra. Chike tended his yam farm behind the house. They were poor, but they were happy. At night, they lay on their thin mattress and talked about their future children. 3 kids, they decided. 2 girls and a boy. They even picked names, but the months passed and Adanna's belly stayed flat. The village women began to whisper, 3 years married and no child. Ha! Something is wrong with that one, oh. Chike should find a second wife, a fruitful one. Mama Ngozi came to their door one evening. She wore all her beads, her smell, palm oil and something darker filled their small room.
The gods are angry, she said.
Looking only at Adanna.
You must make sacrifice.
What kind of sacrifice? Chike asked.
Bring a goat. Bring 7 tubers of yam. Bring gin and kola nuts.
Mama Ngozi's eyes glinted and the
woman must bleed for the shrine.
Adanna felt cold. Bleed?
A small cut here and there.
Mama Ngozi pointed to her own inner thigh.
Your blood mixed with the earth. This is how the curse breaks.
Chike stood up. We are Christians. We don't do those things. Mama Ngozi's smile was thin.
Then you will remain childless, and worse things may come.
After she left, Adanna cried in Chike's arm. Don't listen to her, he said. We will go to the clinic in the city. We'll find out what's wrong. Modern medicine, not old superstitions. So they went. Doctor was a woman with kind eyes. She ran some tests. She asked questions. She looked uncomfortable when she gave them the results.
Mr. Chike,
she said gently,
your sperm count is very low. This is why conception has been difficult.
Adanna felt relief flow through her. It wasn't her fault after all. She wasn't cursed. But Chike's face went grey. Is there treatment? He asked.
Of course there is. It will take time and money, but yes.
They started the treatment. Chike took pills every day. They saved every naira they could. Adanna told no one, not even Chioma, because in the village, if a marriage was childless, it was always the woman's fault always. She started selling Ankara bags online. She posted them on Instagram with bright photos and catchy hashtags. Hashtag Adanna design. Others came in slowly at first. then faster. She was saving for Chike's treatment. She was saving for their future. Didn't know she was saving for his funeral. One Thursday morning on Eke Market Day, Chike had come to sell yams. Adanna was at her usual spot with her bags displayed on a wooden table. She heard him laugh, that big warm laugh that made everyone around him smile. Then she heard him choke. She turned and saw him stumbling between the stalls. His hand was at his throat. His eyes were wide and terrified. Chike! She ran to him. He collapsed into her arms. Foam bubbled at his lips. His body jerked and spasmed. Somebody help me! Adanna screamed. Please, someone call for help! The market crowd gathered. People shouted. Someone ran for water. Someone else ran for the pastor. But Chike's eyes were rolling back. Stay with me, Adanna begged. She cradled his head. Please, Chike, please don't leave me. His last breath rattled out of him like dried leaves. And then he was gone. Adanna screamed. She screamed until her throat was raw. She screamed until strong hands pulled her away from his body. She did not see Mama Chike arrived. Didn't see the old woman's face twist with rage. But she heard the words,
What did you do to my son?
The village council met that night under the old kola nut tree. Adanna sat on the ground. Her eyes were swollen. Her voice was gone from crying. The men of the council sat on wooden stools. Mama Ngozi stood beside them like a judge. This death was not natural, Mama Ngozi announced. The gods took him because she pointed at Adanna. Refused to honor them. That's not true, Adanna's voice cracked. I loved him, Mama Chike lunged forward. You killed him with your cursed womb. 3 years and no child. The gods were angry. Please, Adanna begged. Let me bury my husband in peace. I did nothing wrong. The head councilman, Papa Ugo, shook his head.
Tradition must be followed. The widow must be cleansed.
What does that mean? Adanna asked. But she already knew. She has heard the stories. Her own mother had gone through it when Adanna was small. Mama Ngozi smiled.
Tomorrow, market day, the cleansing will happen where everyone can see.
No, Adanna's voice was barely a whisper. Please, no.
If you refuse,
Papa Ugo said,
you will be banished. You will never see your husband buried. You will be declared a witch.
Adanna looked around at the faces in the torchlight. Hard faces, closed faces. Not one person spoke up for her. Not even the pastor who had married them. Adanna was just alone. I'll do it, she whispered. Mama Ngozi's smile widened.
Good girl.
They came to her house as early in the morning. 6 older women didn't speak to her. They pulled her from her bed. They stripped her wrapper off. Wait, Adanna said. Please, let me wear something. They gave her a thin white cloth. It barely covered anything. They marched her through the village, past houses where people she knew, people she'd laughed with, sold bags to, greeted every morning, now stood in their doorways watching. No one helped. The market was already full. Waste had spread, and this was entertainment to them. They put her in that stool. The morning sun climbed higher. Mama Ngozi began her chant, words in their old language, words that sounded like curses. Remove the wrapper, she commanded. Hans grabbed the white cloth and yanked it away. Adanna stood naked from the waist down in front of everyone she had ever known. A man laughed. A woman gasped. Someone took a photo. Mama Ngozi knelt before her with the blade. Stay still. If you move, I will cut deeper. The blade touched skin. Adanna looked at the sky. She tried to leave her body. She tried to float up and away from this moment, but the pain kept her anchored. Scrape, pull, scrape, blood on the blade, hair on the ground. The crowd pressed closer, phones held high. A teenager shouted, "This is crazy! Stop this!" An old man slapped him. Respect tradition. Adanna's vision blurred. She swayed on the stool. Almost done, Mama Ngozi said. Her voice was almost kind, like she was doing Adanna a favor. Finally, it ended. They let Adanna collapse. Someone threw her wrapper at her. She clutched it to her body. The curse is broken, Mama Ngozi announced. The gods are satisfied. The crowd began to disperse. Adanna lay in the dirt, blood still trickling down her legs, and wondered if dying would hurt less than this. Chioma sat in her dorm room 3 hours away and watched the video for the 10th time. Her hand shook with rage. The video had been uploaded by someone called Umuora Real News. Already, it had 10,000 views. The comments were a war zone. This is barbaric. Tradition is tradition. Respect your culture. That poor woman. This needs to stop. My grandmother went through this. It is normal. Chioma felt sick. She had come home from nursing school the day Chike died. She held Adanna while she cried. She listened to the council decision and felt helpless. But she also been smart. She had hidden her phone behind those yarn baskets. She had filmed everything and she uploaded it before anyone could stop her. Now, the whole world was watching. Now, people were angry. But Chioma knew anger wasn't enough. She needed proof. Needed to know what really killed Chike. That night, she took a bus back to the village. Chioma started asking questions. She went to the market. She talked to the yam sellers. She found the woman who had been beside Chike when he collapsed. Did he eat anything? Drink anything? The woman thought for a while. He had palm wine. From Amarachi, she brought it special for him. Chioma's blood went cold. Amarachi? Chike's cousin. The same Amarachi who had been fighting with Chike over land. The same Amarachi who had been married 10 years with no children and was bitter about it. The same Amarachi who stood in that crowd yesterday and called Adanna a witch. Chioma went to Amarachi's compound that evening. Amarachi was pounding yam in her kitchen. She looked up when Chioma entered. "Small girl, what do you want?" "I want to know what you gave Chike." Amarachi's face didn't change. "I don't know what you mean." "The palm wine the day he died." "Oh, that?" Amarachi went back to pounding. "Just palm wine, nothing special." "Then why is he dead?" Amarachi slammed the pestle down. "Because your sister cursed him. Everyone knows this. My sister loved him." "You though?" Chioma stepped closer. "You wanted his land." Amarachi's eyes twitched. "Get out of my house now. Not until you tell me the truth." Amarachi moved faster. Her hands cracked across Chioma's face. "Mind your place, small girl. Don't come here making accusations." Chioma tasted blood, but she didn't leave. She waited until Amarachi went inside. Then she searched the kitchen. Under the mortar, behind a pile of firewood, Chioma found something. A bottle labeled rat poison. Half empty. She took a photo. She pocketed the bottle and she ran away. The video went viral. By day 3, it had hit 3 million views. Justice for Adanna was trending across Nigeria. News stations picked it up. Activists shared it. Even a governor tweeted about it. People were angry. Women's rights group descended on Umuora Village. They brought lawyers, they brought journalists, and they brought demand. Barrister Dora was the first to arrive. She was tall, fierce, wearing a sharp suit that made the village women stare. She went straight to Papa Ugo's house. "I have a court order," she said, slapping papers on the table. "No more harmful tradition rights until there has been a full investigation into Chike's death." Papa Ugo stuttered. "This is village business. You have no right." "I have every right." "This woman's human rights were violated. You are lucky I don't have you all arrested." The village split down the middle. The elders were furious. They held meetings. They called the lawyers troublemakers. They said the video was edited. They said this was an attack on culture. But the young people had had enough. They'd grown up watching this ritual. They watched their mother and aunties suffer. They'd been told this is how we do things for too long. Now, they protested outside Mama Ngozi's shrine. They demanded autopsy and they demanded justice. And Chioma stood at the front of the crowd with the poison bottle held high. It took 2 days to get Chike's body from the morgue to a proper lab. The results came back on day 7. Cause of death: organophosphate poisoning, consistent with rat poison. Not a cure, not the god's anger, murder. Chioma brought the report to Barrister Dora. "We need a confession," Dora said. "I know how to get one." That night, Chioma went back to Amarachi's compound. This time, she brought her friend Emeka. He worked in film production in Lagos. They hid a camera in Chioma's bag. Amarachi, Chioma said, please, I need to understand. Was it weak? Did he suffer? Amarachi was drinking palm wine. She looked tired. What are you talking about? When you killed Chike, I just want to know if he suffered. Amarachi laughed, a bitter broken sound. You have no proof. I have the poison bottle. I have witnesses who saw you give him the wine. I have the autopsy report. Amarachi's laugh died. He was taking my land, she said finally. The land that should have been mine. My father promised it to me but gave it to Chike instead because Chike had a wife. Because family land goes to men with wife. I have a husband, but no children, so I am worthless. Chike had a wife, but no children, but he's still worth more than me. So you poisoned him? Of course I poisoned him. Amarachi's eyes were empty. And I let that barren girl take the blame. Why not? Everyone was ready to believe it anyway. Chioma felt cold all over her. You watched them shame her. You watched them cut her. And you said nothing. She's still alive, isn't she? Amarachi shrugged. I've been dead for years. Nobody fight for women like me. Maybe they would have, Chioma said quietly, if you hadn't become a monster. She left with the recording. Days later, meeting was held in the same market, 7 days after the shaming. The place was packed again, but this time, different people were in charge. Barrister Dora stood on a platform. The autopsy report was projected on a white sheet hung between two poles. Cause of death, organophosphate poisoning, the crowd murmured. Chike Okafor was murdered, Adora said clearly. He was not killed by any cause. He was not killed by his wife. He was killed by poison. Mama Ngozi stood up. This is all a lie. The gods had nothing to do with this. Chioma stepped forward. She held up her phone. I have a confession from the real killer. She played the video. Amarachi's voice filled the market. I poisoned him. I let that barren girl take the blame. The crowd erupted. People surged forward. Amarachi tried to run but was blocked on all sides. Murderer! You let us shame an innocent woman. You used our tradition to hide your crime. Papa Ugo grabbed Amarachi's arm. How could you do this? Amarachi laughed. That same bitter laugh. How could all of you? You were so ready to believe that she killed him. You didn't even question it. You just grabbed your phones and watched the show. The crowd went silent because she was right. Then Adanna walked into the platform. She moved slowly. She still limped. The cuts were still healing. But she held her head high. Someone handed her a microphone. You shaved my body, Adanna said. Her voice shook, but it carried weight. You shaved me where everyone could see me. You took photos. You laughed. Some of you brought your children to watch. You did this because tradition told you to. Because Mama Ngozi told you to. Because you've always done it this way. She looked directly at Mama Ngozi. My husband died from poison. Not from my womb. Not from any cause. But you were so sure. Didn't wait for answers. You just wanted someone to punish. Mama Ngozi's face was stone. And you, Adanna turned to the crowd. You could have stopped it. Any one of you. But you didn't. A woman in the crowd began to cry. I'm sorry, the woman said. I'm so sorry. Others joined in. Sorry, we were wrong. Please forgive us. But Adanna wasn't done. She walked over to where Mama Ngozi stood. The old woman tried to back away, but the crowd held her. Adanna picked up the same rusty blade from where it lay on the platform. The market went dead silent. You caught me with this, Adanna said. She held the blade up to the flight. You caught me to release a cause that didn't exist. She stepped closer to Mama Ngozi. Should I cut you now? Should I make you kneel in this death? Should I let everyone watch while I shame you? Mama Ngozi's eyes were wide. Please! Adanna stood there for a long moment. The blade glinted. Then she dropped it. It clattered on the wooden platform. I'm not you, Adanna said. I won't hurt someone just because I can. I won't hide behind tradition to justify cruelty. She looked out at the crowd. But this ends now. No more widows shaved in the market. No more women blamed for things they didn't do. No more using tradition as an excuse for torture. She pointed at Mama Ngozi. You are done. No more rituals. No more blade. Then she pointed at Papa Ugo. And you, the council. You will write new rules. You will protect widows and not punish them. And if you refuse, Papa Ugo asked quietly. Adanna smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. Then I will upload another video. And this time, I will make sure the whole world knows your name. 3 months later, Adanna stood in front of a small building. The sign above the door said, Adanna's Heaven, safe space for widows. The building used to be an old school. Now, it was painted bright yellow, solar panels on the roof, a garden out front. Inside, there were beds, a kitchen, a counseling room, a sewing machine where women could learn skills and earn money. Barrister Dora had helped set it up. Donations poured in after the video went viral. Women's organization, churches, private donors, even some guilty villagers contributed. The first residents were 3 widows from nearby villages, women who had heard about Adanna's story, women who were afraid to go through what she had gone through. Chioma had graduated early from nursing school. Now, she ran the health clinic attached to the safe house. She also replaced Mama Ngozi as the village health officer. The council hadn't been happy about it, but after the video, after the shame, they didn't have much choice. Amarachi was in prison. 20 years for murder. Mama Ngozi had retired. She lived alone in her compound. No one visited anymore. And Adanna was pregnant. 6 months along, and the baby kicked constantly. The state clinic had saved some of Chike's sperm before he died. Adanna has used the last of their savings for 1 round of IVF. And it worked. She got pregnant. She rubbed her belly and felt the flutter of movement. Your father would have loved you, she whispered. The ribbon cutting ceremony was about to start. New cameras were set up. The governor was coming. It was a big deal. But Adanna just wanted it to be over. She wanted to get back to work, back to the women who needed help. Barrister Dora handed her the golden scissors. Ready? She asked. Adanna nodded. She cut the ribbon. The small crowd cheered. A reporter pushed forward. Adanna, how does it feel to turn your trauma into something positive? Adanna thought about it. It feels like surviving, she said. But more than that, it feels like making sure other women don't just survive, they heal. Another reporter, what would you say to the people who still support traditional widowhood rights? Adanna looked directly at the camera. Some traditions must die so women can live. Not all old ways are good. If a tradition requires someone to bleed, to be shamed, to be hurt, then it's not tradition. It is abuse, she smiled, and we don't do that anymore. That evening, Adanna sat on her couch. The sun was setting, red and gold. Chioma came and sat beside her. You did it, Chioma said. You actually changed everything. Adanna shook her head. We did it. You filmed it. You found the proof. Didn't let them bury the truth. I was so scared, Chioma admitted. When I uploaded that video, I thought maybe I was making it worse for you. You made it impossible for them to hide it. That's what matters. They sat in silence for a moment. Do you forgive them? Chioma asked. The village. Adanna considered. Some of them. The ones who apologize. The ones who are trying to do better. She paused. But forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting. I will never forget what they did to me. I will never forget standing on that stool. Good, Chioma said fiercely. Don't forget. Don't let any of us forget. Adanna's voice burst. Another message. Another woman asking for help. She has gotten hundreds since the story went public. Women from all over the country. Some from other countries. All of them with similar stories. Widows forced to drink the water used to wash their husband's cups. Widows stripped and beaten. Widows made to sleep on the floor for months. Widows blamed for everything. It was bigger than Adanna had realized. The problem was everywhere. But now, at least, people were talking about it. Now, at least, there was something to go. She texted back. We have space. Come tomorrow. The sun disappeared below the horizon. Adanna stood up, feeling the weight of her belly, feeling the life growing inside her. Come on, she said to Chioma. We have work to do. They went inside together, and behind them in the darkness, the village of Umuora began slowly, painfully, reluctantly to change. This story is inspired by real widowhood rights that continue in all parts of the country in Africa and other countries. If you or someone you know is facing harmful traditional practices, reach out to local women rights organizations. Change begins when we refuse to stay silent. Hashtag end the shame. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to share this story with your family and your friends who might love to see them. Till I see you again in my next story. Goodbye.